Most traders spend years trying to catch the exact bottom or top of a move, and most of them fail just because they are guessing. What if I showed you how to spot guessing and start confirming every reversal using just two simple indicators? Today I'm breaking down the exact WaveTrend and RSI strategy that separates lucky traders from consistent ones. We'll cover how to spot the signal, how to confirm the momentum, and how to execute the trade. And stay until the end because I've prepared a challenge to test your skills. Let's get started. Before we dive into today's lesson, let's see if you learned anything from our last lesson. I asked you a question about RSI disagreement. The correct answer was B, disagree. As you saw on the chart, even though the price was making higher highs, the second RSI, which was an RSI of an RSI, was making lower highs. This disagreement between the two RSI layers is an alert signal. It tells us the momentum is dying even if the price looks strong. With that important lesson learned, let's jump into today's topic. What is the WaveTrend indicator? WaveTrend Oscillator, especially the version by LazyBear, is a momentum-based indicator that helps us see when prices becoming stretched and when momentum may be shifting from bearish to bullish or from bullish to bearish. First, let's add it to the chart. Open your chart in TradingView, go to your indicators menu, search for indicator, WaveTrend Oscillator, and select the one by LazyBear. Now you'll see an indicator panel with a few distinct lines moving in a rhythmic wave-like pattern. Open the indicator settings, then go to the Style tab. Uncheck the last plot since we won't be using it. Next, increase the thickness of the remaining lines to make them easier to see and then click OK. There are four parts of the WaveTrend indicator that you need to understand. First, the WaveTrend main line shown in green. This is the faster, more responsive line, meaning it reacts quickly whenever the price starts to change. Next is the signal line shown at the red dotted line. It's smoother and moves a bit more slowly than the main line. When these two lines cross, they can indicate that the market momentum may be starting to shift. The third part is the zero line shown in gray. Think of it as the center line of the indicator. When both lines are above zero, the market generally has bullish momentum. When they are below zero, momentum is generally bearish. Finally, we have the overbought and oversold zones. The two red lines at the top mark the overbought zone, where the market may have moved too far to the upside. The two green lines at the bottom mark the oversold zone, where the market may have moved too far to the downside. These areas can signal that a price reversal may be approaching. How to read buy and sell signals with WaveTrend. So, how do most people use WaveTrend? It looks simple. Buy signal. When the fast line crosses above the slow line, especially at the bottom, this means the price dropped too much and is ready to bounce up. Sell signal. When the fast line crosses below the slow line, especially at the top, this means the price is too high and is ready to drop down. Sounds easy, right? But here's the trap. If you follow every single signal, you will lose money. Why? Because the market doesn't always go in a straight line. Sometimes the market moves sideways. In those moments, the indicator gives fake signals. The lines cross, but the price goes nowhere. So, the signal itself isn't enough. We need a filter to check if the market actually has the strength to move. And that's exactly why we need to add the RSI. Adding RSI for momentum confirmation. To make WaveTrend a serious strategy, a filter is needed to confirm that market momentum supports its turning points. That's why RSI is added, acting as a judge to determine buyer or seller control. To use this, we'll look at the 50 level on the RSI. When the RSI line is above 50, it tells us the trend is bullish, and when it's below 50, it shows that the trend is bearish. This gives us a very clear rule. We only accept a buy signal from WaveTrend if the RSI is above 50, and we only accept a sell signal if the RSI is below 50. If the WaveTrend signal and the RSI don't agree with each other, we simply ignore the signal and do nothing. Remember, It's always better to skip a trade than to take a bad one. Let's look at the charts to see how this works. The entry rules. Let's define our exact entry rules. For a buy setup, we'll look for 3 clear conditions. First, the wave trend lines need to be in a lower area, showing that the market has dropped and is stretched. Second, we wait for the fast main line to cross above the signal line, which acts as our trigger. Third, and this is the most important part, we check the RSI. We need the RSI to be above the 50 level. If the RSI is below 50, it means the momentum is still weak and the buyers are not ready, so we simply stay out of the trade. For a sell setup, we just flip the logic. First, the wave trend lines should be in the upper area, showing the market is overextended to the upside. Second, we wait for the fast main line to cross below the signal line as our trigger. Third, we check the RSI again. We only sell if the RSI is below 50. If the RSI is still holding above 50, it means the sellers are not in full control yet, so we avoid the trade entirely. While this sounds simple, it requires patience in real time. You have to wait for all these conditions to line up at the same time and wait for a perfect setup. Real market examples. Buy setup. Let's jump into a real example on the chart. Look at this section here. The price has been dropping for several candles, which honestly looks pretty scary. Most traders panic in moments like this, but we stay calm because we look at the indicators. You can see the wave trend lines are deep in the bottom channel, which tells us that the market is exhausted and ready for a potential turn. Now keep your eyes on the wave trend lines. See how the main line curves and crosses above the signal line. This is our trigger. But we don't jump in yet. We look down at the RSI. At the exact moment of that cross, notice how the RSI is punching through the 50 line. This is our green light. We enter our long position right here, and for safety, we place our stop loss just below the recent swing low. We are aiming for a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio. As you can see, the price respects our analysis, moves up, and hits our target perfectly. Now look at a sell setup. Look at this area on the chart. The price has been climbing for a while and it might look like the trend will never end. Most traders feel FOMO here and start buying at the top, but we stay patient. Notice how the wave trend lines are pushed way up into the top channel. That tells us the market is overextended and it's basically begging for a pullback. Now keep your eyes on the wave trend lines again. See how the main line curves and crosses below the signal line. This is our trigger. But just like before, we don't rush. We'll look at the RSI. We need to see the RSI line below the 50 level. Since it's below 50, we have the confirmation that the sellers are taking control. We enter our short position right here. For safety, we place our stop loss just above the recent swing high. And again, we aim for a clean 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio. As you watch the chart, the price drops down and hits our target perfectly. Now before you go, I have a quick quiz for you to test if you really understood the strategy. Look at this setup on the chart. The wave trend main line crosses above the signal line in the lower zone. At first glance, this looks like a buy setup. But here's the important detail. The RSI is at 42. So here's your question. What should we do in this situation? A. Enter a buy trade. B. Enter a sell trade. C. Wait because this is not a valid buy confirmation yet. D. Ignore RSI and take the wave trend cross only. Pause the video, think carefully, and drop your answer in the comments A, B, C, or D. I will reveal the correct answer in the first 30 seconds of my next video. Let's see who really understands the logic. Alright everyone, that's it for today's lesson. If you found this lesson helpful, like and subscribe for more practical strategies. Comment below if you want a tutorial on a specific topic. I will make it for you. Thanks for watching and I see you in the next video.